In the quietest hours of the night, when the clamor of the world fades into a heavy silence, look at your hands. Look at the invisible scars etched into your palms, the silent bleeding of a soul that has poured itself dry for the sake of others. You have walked through the fires of this earth, carrying the burdens of the weak, fixing the broken walls of your neighbors, and offering your own warmth to those shivering in the cold. You have been told, since you were a child, that to be good is to be selfless, that to be virtuous is to bleed so that others may drink. And so, you bled. You became the eternal sanctuary for the lost, the shield for the careless, the infinite well for the thirsty. You called it love. You called it nobility. But in the desolate theater of your own mind, beneath the crushing weight of your exhaustion, a brutal truth waits to be acknowledged. You were not being noble. You were being consumed. There is a profound and terrifying difference between being loved and being useful. This is the great illusion that has trapped millions of decent, honorable men and women in a lifelong cycle of silent despair. When you offer yourself without conditions, when you become the perpetual solver of problems, the listener of endless complaints, the crutch for every limping traveler, you attract the parasites of the human spirit. They come to you not because they see the beauty of your soul, but because they smell the absence of your boundaries. They recognize a fortress with no gates, a kingdom with no guards, and they will feast upon your time, your energy, your resources, and your sanity, wearing the mask of friendship or the disguise of love. They will call you kind. They will call you reliable. They will call you an angel. But observe them closely when the wind changes. Observe what happens when the well runs dry. The day will come, as inevitable as the setting sun. When your strength fails, you will stumble. You will fall ill, or your spirit will break under the sheer gravity of your own unacknowledged pain. You will reach out into the darkness, expecting a hand to pull you up, expecting the same warmth you have radiated for decades to be reflected back upon you. But there will be nothing, only the cold, echoing silence of an empty room. The people who fed on your light will not sit with you in the dark. They will not bandage your wounds. They will simply look at your broken form with mild inconvenience, and they will walk away to find another source to drain. In that agonizing moment of abandonment, the illusion shatters. You realize, with a pain sharper than any physical blade, that they did not love you. They loved what you could do for them. The moment your utility vanished, your existence lost its value in their eyes. This is not a reason to despair. This is the moment of your greatest awakening. The ancient Stoics understood this fatal flaw in human nature. They knew that a virtue taken to its extreme, without the anchor of wisdom and self-respect, morphs into a vice. Seneca warned us about the careless squandering of our most precious resource, our time, and our energy upon those who do not value it. He observed that men guard their property with fierce jealousy, drawing swords over a piece of land or a handful of gold, yet they allow anyone and everyone to trespass into their lives, stealing their peace and consuming their days. Why do you guard your gold, but leave the vault of your soul wide open to thieves? The brutal reality you must face in the mirror is that your boundless kindness was not born entirely of pure goodness. It was born, at least in part, from fear. The fear of confrontation, the fear of being disliked, the fear of abandonment. You gave and you gave because you secretly believed that if you stopped being useful, you would be left alone. You purchased their presence with your servitude. You traded your sovereignty for the illusion of belonging. But a belonging bought with self-mutilation is not a community. It is a hostage situation. You have been a hostage to your own desperate need for validation. To forge a steel mind, you must be willing to let the weak, people-pleasing version of yourself die. You must drag that desperate, approval-seeking phantom to the altar of truth and execute it without mercy. True strength is not the ability to endure endless abuse with a smile. True strength is the ability to look a parasite in the eye and say one devastating, liberating word: no. The word no is the cornerstone of the iron citadel. It is the wall that separates the sacred from the profane. When you begin to say no, when you stop rushing to fix every crisis, when you stop pouring your energy into bottomless pits of need, a terrifying and beautiful chaos will ensue. The parasites will rebel. They will accuse you of being cold. They will call you selfish. They will use guilt, the oldest and most venomous weapon of the manipulator, to try and drag you back into your chains. They will say you have changed. Look at them with eyes as calm and indifferent as the winter sky and understand this. They are not mourning the loss of your character. They are mourning the loss of their convenience. Let them leave. Let them walk away. Their departure is not a loss. It is a cleansing. Do not mistake this new armor for a heart of stone. The Stoic warrior is not a creature of malice or cruelty. Marcus Aurelius commanded himself to be tolerant with others and strict with himself. To love mankind is a duty, but to allow yourself to be devoured by the lowest elements of mankind is a sin against your own nature. True compassion can only flow from a position of absolute strength. When a weak man helps another, he does it out of compulsion and fear. When a strong man helps another, he does it as a sovereign choice, offering a gift from his abundance, not a desperate plea from his emptiness. Imagine the garden of your life. For years, you have let strangers trample the flowers, harvest the fruit, and salt the earth, all while you stood by and smiled, hoping they would thank you. Now, you must build a wall. You must forge a gate of heavy iron. You alone hold the key. You cultivate the soil for yourself. You water the roots of your own ambitions, your own peace, your own health. And when the garden flourishes, when the branches are heavy with fruit and the air is sweet with the scent of your labor, you may open the gate, but you only invite those who bring respect. You only share your harvest with those who would stand beside you to defend the walls if the wolves came. The path of the warrior requires the death of the martyr. You are not a sacrificial lamb offered to the altars of the ungrateful. You are the architect of your destiny. Reclaim your time. It is the sand in your hourglass, slipping away, never to be recovered. Reclaim your energy. It is the fire in your forge, meant to temper the steel of your own character, not to keep strangers warm while you freeze to death. Epictetus taught that we cannot control the demands of the world, nor the selfishness of those who inhabit it, but we hold absolute dominion over our own faculties of choice and refusal. Every time you say yes when your soul screams no, you abdicate that dominion. You hand over the crown of your reason to the mob. Why do you fear their judgment? The opinions of the masses are as fleeting as the wind, shifting with every passing mood and circumstance. To build your self-worth upon the shifting sands of public approval is to construct a prison of constant anxiety. The mob does not know what is good. They only know what is easy. They will applaud you when you serve their interests, and they will crucify you the moment you assert your own. Recognize the futility of this game. You cannot win it, for the rules are designed to break you. There is a profound, almost sacred majesty in learning to stand alone. Solitude is the forge where the steel mind is tempered. When you stop surrounding yourself with those who merely use you, you will face a period of stark isolation. Embrace it. Do not run back to the familiar warmth of parasitic relationships just to escape the cold of being alone. This isolation is not a punishment, it is a crucible. In this quiet emptiness, you will finally hear your own thoughts. You will finally feel the weight of your own existence without it being diluted by the needs of others. You will learn to be your own sanctuary. You will realize that the love you were so desperately trying to earn from the world was the love you refused to give yourself. You treated your own body, your own mind, as secondary to the whims of strangers. You were a traitor to your own soul. Forgive yourself for this treason, but vow never to repeat it. Swear an oath to the reflection in the mirror that from this day until your last breath, you will be your own fiercest defender. You will treat your energy as a finite, holy resource. The transition will be painful. The shedding of the old self always involves tearing the skin. You will feel guilt. You will feel the phantom limb of your old habits urging you to reach out and fix, to reach out and please. Let the guilt wash over you and let it pass. It is merely the dying gasp of your weakness. Stand firm. Like a cliff battered by the ocean waves, the sea of demands will crash against your newly formed boundaries. But the cliff does not move. The cliff simply endures until the storm exhausts itself. Be the cliff. Let them crash. Let them rage. You remain immovable, rooted in the deep earth of your own self-respect. The tragedy of the mortal condition is that we learn these lessons so late. We spend the best years of our youth bleeding out our potential for those who will not even remember our names when the curtain falls. Do not let another day be added to the ledger of your wasted sacrifices. The time for blind charity is dead. The time for ruthless self-preservation has arrived. It is not an act of arrogance to value your life. It is the ultimate act of gratitude for the brief, beautiful spark of existence you have been given. Guard the spark. Let it grow into a roaring fire that illuminates your path, and let the rest of the world marvel at the flames from a respectful distance. Withdraw from the noise. Step back from the endless cycle of performing for an audience that does not care about you. Sit in the absolute stillness of your own company. It will be terrifying at first. The silence will echo with the ghosts of the people you have disappointed. But out of that silence, a new voice will rise. It will not be the anxious, trembling voice of the people-pleaser. It will be the deep, resonant voice of the sovereign self. It will tell you that you are enough, that your value is not measured by your utility to the careless masses, but by the integrity of your own soul. Rise now. Wipe the dust of subservience from your knees. Look into the mirror not with the eyes of a victim, but with the gaze of a conqueror who has finally recognized his true enemy. The era of blind sacrifice is over. The era of the iron will has begun. Build your walls. Guard your fire. Walk forward into the unforgiving world not as a servant, but as a king of your own domain. And let the world learn, once and for all, that your kindness is a gift, but your respect must be earned.